Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it's WrapUp back at you with the weekly comic book roundup. And for this one, we'll be talking about this week's event books. The only event going on right now that I'm following is War of the Realms. So, let's get started there. We'll kick things off with Thor number 12. Now, when we last saw Thor, he had been sent to Jotunheim to face down a bunch of frost giants. And it looks like that's where we're going to be picking up in this issue, right? Nope, we're dealing with Loki. Now, if you'll recall, at the end of near the end of War of the Realms number 1, Loki, Loki's father, ate Loki. Anyway, so we basically got the issue is Loki reflecting and doing so. The most recent version of Loki reflecting on everything with other versions of Loki, and kind of getting the idea that, and realizing that maybe he kind of lit the feud, started to get the ball rolling on this whole thing, so maybe it's all his fault. But he talks with his his ancient Asgardian self. Kid Loki. And Destroyer Loki. Who seems to be a kid. If you got Planet Destroyer, a Loki that's destroying, say, Ego, the living planet, would seem like he's akin to King Thor, who's appeared in various future timelines. But it turns out he's still alive while being digested. Yay! Ugh. Alright, moving on to... War of the Realms, The Punisher, number 1. So this is a prime example of a simple tie-in book. But we want to involve this character, but we don't want to interrupt we either don't want to interrupt their book, or we're certain that they can sell a miniseries on their own. And chances are, if they've got their own book and had it for a while, yeah, the Punisher has the name recognition to sell a miniseries by himself. All right, so we open up with Punisher kicking open the door of a music shop. The guy giving piano lessons freaks out because when he visited Colorado, he brought a little bit of weed back with him. He knows it's illegal in New York, but and Punisher kind of looks like, I need some piano wire. And guy getting a big old spool of it on the house. We get some narration from Frank, which is actually really good narration. This is while he's killing dark elves and their seeds, but New York has always been hell. And every once in a while, it's a weirder, worse hell because of some shit from someone in a cave. This looks like either Doctor Strange or maybe Thor's baggage. Either way, good, hardworking people are being slaughtered. That makes it my problem. And he used the piano wire to make a rather high up tripwire, so that if anyone, when running through, would lose their heads, especially if they were riding a large animal. And after taking out some of the Dark Elves, he's got what is hands down the best line in the issue. Looks up at a Frost Giant and says, "Fuck off, Giant." Then he chucks a couple grenades at the Giant's feet, and yeah. Anyway, however, the Giant picks up a car with a family in it, throws it at Punisher. Punisher decides to run over, get whoever survived the explosion of the car out. Turns out only the father did. Mom and kid are dead. But he's got the Giant's name, and he's gonna get the guy to a hospital. So, turns out though, the hospital is planning to get everyone through the Lincoln Tunnel. Which is an excellent choke point and place for an ambush. So, yet another Asgardian demon attacks. This time, however, it's a prison bus. Punisher manages to get involved. And at first everyone thinks they're saved, only to realize that the Punisher just walked onto a bus full of felons. He explains that he explains what's up. Ordinarily, he'd kill all of them, then go get a sandwich. But they've seen what's going on outside, and he needs a few bad men to help some good people. And he says he explains they're going to help a hospital evacuate through the Lincoln Tunnel. He grabs some melee weapons along the way. Everybody take one. One guy, of course, decides he wants to rush him, and, well, Punisher explains why that is a bad idea in traditional Punisher fashion. Anyway, so some of the Dark Elves and whatnot show up at the Lincoln Tunnel, but Punisher and there's actually a term for this. Punisher his brigade of prisoners prevent the Dark Elves from getting further. Basically, say, hey, walk 20 yards behind us, follow every order I give, and I'll get you through this. So yeah, that's. Obviously, things are not going well in the War of the Realms. It kind of helped maybe a certain God of Thunder was around, but he's MIA in Jotunheim. Moving on to War of the Realms, War Scrolls, #1. Now, War Scrolls is very much in line with books, miniseries such as Frontline, which was a common thing during a lot of other events. This is basically smaller stories, and there would usually be a story from the perspective of a reporter. Kind of, okay, this is what's going on. Actually, very similar, and that story would actually feel very similar to the story of Marvels, which has been being re-released of late. Which Marvel's Annotated #3 comes out next month, so we're getting an off month. Anyway, War of the Realms, War Scrolls is a little bit different. And it really doesn't, actually, War of the Realms #1, yes. #2, not so much. So we open up, we got 3 stories. We have The God Without Fear, Part 1, The Warriors 3 and The Warriors 3, or 4, Wolverine and Punisher in Nice Shot, Frank, and Howard the Duck in Vaughn of the Realms, and Wah of the Realms. There. Anyway, so the Daredevil story. We open up with a flashback, one of the various meetings between Daredevil and Thor. Apparently, Daredevil thought that Thor was being reckless in the way he slung lightning bolts, but Thor explained, hey, I always I do have precision. You might not think so, but I do. Um, and he explains that, and Thor says that all mortals have been guard-proof for the same thing. See the mystery of the world revealed. See as a god sees. And Thor then says as he flies off that his advice, and this is how he refers to Daredevil in this: Sir Devil of the Kitchen of Hell, pray for something else. The ways of the gods are beyond your knowing. For your sake, I hope they stay that way. Anyway, so we've cut to days ago. The mayor of New York, Wilson Fisk, is being helicoptered out against his will. He doesn't want to abandon the city. Everyone's like, no, you cannot stay here. We need to get you the hell out of here. And a Frost Giant manages to knock the chopper down. And that was days ago. Now we've got a group at a church praying. A couple of Frost Giants show up. And then Daredevil shows up, holding the Bifrost sword. And he explains in his narration that he no longer hears just the 5 boroughs. He hears the 10 realms. But he takes out the Frost Giants. And we even get this kind of hit, him seeing a Frost Giant, so to speak. Including, things like the best points to hit. Anyway, so he's getting the people from the church out to getting them to safety. And he discovers one of the people there was one of Fisk's men. And so Daredevil asks where Fisk is. Just like, he's dead. I swear, he died in the crash. Though Daredevil knows he's lying. But it turns out that Fisk is in the custody of Malekith. Malekith wants to know where Daredevil is. And how to break him. Which of course makes Fisk laugh. Anyways, so next we got the Warriors 3 or 4. So while en route to Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, which is the initial evacuation point for everyone, the Warriors 3, Fandral, Hogun, and Volstagg. Well, Fandral and Hogun are carrying Volstagg, while Hildegard is traveling with them. They, of course, come upon some of, Frost Giant, which gets taken care of by Cloak and Dagger, as well as some of the Dark Elves. Fandral constantly tries to chat up Dagger, who's having none of it. During the fight, Hogun hid Volstagg in a dumpster. They go check the dumpster, and Howard the Duck is there. But turns out he's gone to eat some hot dogs, and so the Warriors 4 soon enough arrive at the Sanctum. Anyways, next up we've got nice shot, Frank. Again, we got people being, brought into the, soon it's the door have to be closed but mom waiting on her kid shows up, so explains what happened. Him and his friends ran into one of those things and Frost Giant, and he even helped Wolverine fight him off. They were trying to escape, and the Dark Elves showed up. Wolverine referring to them as Rivendell. He takes care of the Dark Elves, and then a Frost Giant shows up, and kid throws a rock at the Frost Giant's head. Seems to take it down. Seems to take it down real nice and bloody like, too. Wolverine says, hey, get over to the sanctum, the way there should be clear. And so everyone manages to get teleported out to the to Avengers Mountain. Though it turns out that while yes, the rock did hit the giant's head, the Punisher was on the other end firing. So they argue a little bit about it, and they're like, whatever. And finally, you have the Realms. So, at the offices of Howard the Duck, private investigator, public figure in Brooklyn, they want nothing to do with this crap, but they're hired by a really, really rich person to find their missing dog. Turns out Wilson Fisk has opened up a dog park in New York called Wilson Frisky Dog Park. That's where this dog likes to go. Well, in the brief time they've been here, it's also where Frost Giants like to, go. And it's a gross, disgusting mess. And the dog is covered in Frost Giant shit. And jumps into the car. Yeah. And that is War Scrolls number 1. Alrighty. Now we move on to the big gun. War of the Realms number 2, which will explain little bits and pieces from War Scrolls. Yes, War of the Realms number 2. Let's show it off. Alright, so where we left off. Oh yes, Chapter 2, The Midgard Massacre. We open up at Greenwich Village. Jane Foster and some snakes and bats, the ghost dog, are guiding people in. There's a safe room that can hold a couple million full-grown people. So anyways, like I said, where we left off, Malekith and his forces arrived. Basically said, Midgard's ours, bitches. But the Asgardians living on Earth, and the Avengers, as well as various other heroes, they didn't take too kindly to that. And so, yeah. Shit and fan have met. So anyways, we get Wolverine and Punisher's first, their initial reunion after Wolverine's return from the dead. Including their little bit of catching up. Wolverine claims he wasn't dead. Just really drunk for a long time. And sometimes they really don't work well together. But when they have a common goal, they are great together. A common goal with no real rules back of engagement. They're fine. And this is one of those times when it's, hey, these things need killing. we can kill. They're great at that. Cap is working on evacuating buildings and doing what he can to take down frost giants. However, turns out that all, with the exception of whatever, with the operating system of Tony Stark's armor, wireless networks the world over are down. And I swear, Jason Aaron wrote the CEO of Roxxon perfectly. This is what a CEO should. This is a CEO. He's they're told that they just Roxxon just successfully launched the Pearl Harbor of global hacks. Actual dialogue. Splendid. Tell the entire tech division that their boss is beaming with pride and its early Christmas bonuses all around. And then remind them that for every network they allow to go back online, I will personally tear off one of their body parts and feed it to a very large minotaur I know. Oh, and there's cake in the break room. And it turns out that tech's not the only thing that's cut off. Doctor Strange is having trouble with magic. Turns out that Malekith has a coven of war witches that are basically blocking magic. Spider-Man is being annoying to the Malekith's army because he's Spider-Man, and that's kind of what he does. He makes a bad guy want to hurt him even more. Jane Foster brings a giant Viking boat down, and it's turning into quite the war. And then Odin shows up with the Valkyries, all of them, and okay, yeah, maybe that could definitely be a turn of the tide. Of course, I'll be honest. I didn't. With what happened to him in the first issue, I really did not expect him to stay dead, or even actually be dead. So, this is no surprise. The only surprise I felt of this is that it happened, that he returned so soon. So, but we get Jane Foster and Brunhild swearing off or fighting off war angels, and then Brunhild says, "Hey," drops off Jane Foster. "Hey, you know what? You've done enough fighting. You get somewhere safe. I got this." Anyway, however, it just so happens that Jane has been dropped onto the same building where the Coven of War Witches were hiding, and so her and Blade take them out. And so now Doctor Strange can do his spell, which is working on getting everyone out. And they get everyone gets to Avengers Mountain. Some intel is basically passed along from the Asgardians to the non-Asgardian heroes. And we're getting some setup for some of the more of the spin-off comics. And while he's alive, Odin is still needs to do the Odin sleep to, you know, heal from his wounds. During this, we get a quick Rock's news shot of Rock's news. Obviously, Rock's on's television, cable news channel. Aragorn, the flying steed of Brunhild the Valkyrie, impaled on the atop the Empire State Building. Anyways, back in New York, the Valkyries are. Well, Valkyrie herself is fighting and shouts for Malekith to stop hiding behind his magic and to fight. Only to be run through and then presumably decapitated. And that's where the issue ends. We've still got a couple more tie-ins this month. Avengers and Venom. Avengers, Venom, and Uncanny X-Men. Those will all be coming out next week. So, damn. Alright, that's it for the event books this week. Let me know in the comments what you think of how I'm doing the roundup now. I would love to hear some feedback. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I put up new content. Links to Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon description box down below. This is Spock signing off for the moment, saying live long and rock hard.